Alright, so we have our Beluga here, which is obviously not a TRX-4. And I got this set of aluminum shock lifts. So they're pretty simple looking. There's obviously 4 of them, but they're not all the same. Half of them will have treads on one side, and the other half will have on the other side for obvious reasons. And then there's also like a set of screws as well, right? And there'll be shorter ones and longer ones. So the idea is that you'll mount the shocks here at the bottom with the shorter screw, and then mount this into the chassis with the longer screw. So I mean, there's no instruction, but that's pretty simple. Right, so yeah, let's get started then. Well, but before we do, I mean, how tall is this? I believe they were supposed to be 10 or 12 millimeters. I don't know if we're gonna gain that height, but we just need to measure our current ground clearance here, which is 78 millimeters. It's not important like how high it is, but like how much we gain. So that's the starting point, and yeah, let's get started. Alright, so as you can see, the shock is disconnected now. It's just one bolt into the chassis there. Yeah, so we can then figure out how we want to orient the lift here. You want the screw to be inside, like towards the body. So this is the rear, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount it like this, so with the opening facing towards the center of the chassis, and then this threaded side is gonna be again towards the center, and I'm just gonna basically mount it like that, and that should be pretty simple. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, there are actually multiple options here. There's 3 holes. Obviously, we're gonna try for the maximum one, so with the lowest one here. And then now we just need to mount it onto the chassis. Alright, so I just did the rears. You can already tell the difference between the rear and the fronts here. So that might be too much, but you know, we can always adjust it, right? Because we do have those other options, and we can always remove it if you don't like it. So yeah, we're now then gonna work in the front. It's basically gonna be exactly the same, obviously, just, you know, facing the opposite way. So let's do that. All right, so there it is, and I gotta admit, it kind of looks ridiculous. I mean, that's probably still a bit much, but yeah. Anyways, so obviously I have it front and back. One thing you will notice is, if I zoom in here, that it's actually not completely vertical, because there's nothing really stopping it from like tilting like that. It's just the way it is. But you know, once it gets to that angle, it doesn't go any further, so it kind of just stays like that. But obviously you can see I can move it kind of back and forth there, right? So it's worse in the back here. It's worse there because you can see that it's moving, but you know, once it's there, it doesn't really move because it's pushing against it, right? But yeah, it's just something to note. So there it is with the body on, and yeah, it looks pretty ridiculous, I gotta admit. It's definitely taller or higher off the ground, and it is at, go ahead, just bounce it for a little bit, and it's at 96. So 96 millimeters, and we started at 78, so we gain about 18 millimeters. which is not nothing. That's pretty good. I didn't expect it to be that much because we're at an angle, right? And I believe that the lift themselves were about 20 millimeters in length in total. But yeah, so it does look kind of high, but if I fully articulate it, it's like that. It's before it was actually rubbing. Now it's not rubbing, so that's a good. Although I might reduce it by one because I don't need it to be that high. The thing about being too high is obviously you have a higher center of gravity, so that's really not a good thing. That said, we do have a fix for that, and that's adding more weight at the bottom here, either at the wheels or at the axles. And I do have those upgrades, but that's going to be for another video. But for now, this is what we have. Got this from Amazon. I believe it was about $12-15. It's less than $20 for sure, Canadian. So it's pretty cheap. And then you have options and adjustability. So yeah, we'll just have to try it out on the field to see if it's actually, effective, as opposed to being a detriment because of just the higher center of gravity. But yeah, anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.